The one they call the Big Daddy Kane is here as the party animal, sex symbol, soloist, vocalist, microphone miracle, here to react, attack. As a matter of fact, I bring forth a sudden impact. Wanna say knick-knack, paddywhack, give Kane a microphone, and all the other MCs are going.
At the Grand Concourse 149th Street Station in the Bronx, graffiti writers gather at what they call the writer's bench.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let's just get on with the show.
Off and on. Off and on. Off and on. Off and on. Off and on.
What's good, what's good, what's good? Live from the Writer's Bench, another episode on tap. I'm your man Kill with Beezo and Vic. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, dude.
Good to have all the soldiers on the bench tonight. Yo, we're going to dive right in. Tonight's show is about our top 5 slept-on producers. So, not the producers who end up on your average top 10 list, not your Primos, your Peach, your Dillas, RZAs, Marleys, Dr. Dre's, Timbos, Pharrell, you know, none of them dudes. We looking for the unheralded producers who've been putting in work all these years, but whose name seldomly ever really gets mentioned, you know, in those, you know, that top 5 spot or even in the top 10 spot. So, yo, Vic, why don't you set off for us tonight? Who's one of your, and these joints are in no particular order. So, who's one of your tops?
My top, I always bring this up, man, is Jay Swift and that first Far Side album.
Right.
And the story is real crazy because I think after he did that album, I think it was either an XL or Source or Wax Poetic, he had this horrible life after that, man. He ended up hitting the pipe, then he went to jail. It just was like, yo, he did like kind of like you read like these blues cats, they sell their soul and they make this banging album, and after that, it just kind of seems like that story to me, man. But that album just was to me was just, it was like a breath of fresh air, man. It was like I listened to the Tribe, so it was like that joint came through, and it was like, man, this is like a piece of it, you know what I mean? So I had to throw Jay Swift in there, man.
Now, what were some of your favorite joints off that first Far Side joint? Like, what really caught your ear?
The whole album, but really, I mean, of course, She Keeps On Passing Me By is a classic, but oh man, what was the joint, man? Doom, 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 doom. Oh, what's the name of that joint, man? See, that look, that's real foul. I can't even name it. But yo, the whole album, though, I always just like when I put that joint on, I just listen to it.
And you know, the funny thing about that album, B, is we gonna do another Slept On album show. I've never heard that whole album.
You know, the whole album.
Outside?
Oh, man.
That's a dope album.
Dope joint. Definitely a dope joint.
Never heard the whole joint. Heard the singles and everything, but for some reason it just didn't catch me like that I wanted to go out and actually listen to the whole joint. So
I mean, I know it ain't really the topic so much, but like even the video for Passing Me By, where some was like hanging upside down, and it's like the camera's moving down the street. Yeah. I rocked with them. I mean, I know what you're saying, Vic. Like the cat went through it after the album, but them dudes, you gotta think back to like how Cali cats was perceived, especially for East Coast dudes. You know, the Jerry Curl, the gangster shit, and here these cats came with that sound. It didn't have it had a Cali sound to it, but it was, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't that, what's the instrument that Homeboy was telling us about? I forget, you know, had
that Dre sound.
Yeah, it didn't have that, but you knew it wasn't straight up East Coast hip hop.
Right.
And then when you seen them cats, it was like, oh, okay, there's some other shit. It's like you got to see a whole other side of the Cali hip hop scene with them cats, man.
They had the joint, it was For Better or For Worse. It was a video to that joint was real crazy. Other Fish. And then Other Fish had like umpteen remixes to it.
Yo, was it joint Your Mama on that shit too?
Yeah, Your Mama. It's Jiggle Time, and they did a real controversial, rare video to It's Jiggaboo Time. If you could ever find it on YouTube, it was real crazy.
Now tell me, like some blackface stuff in that video?
Yeah, that's It's Jiggaboo Time.
I remember that.
Now tell me this, Vic. I know, like you said, because I heard about dude kind of falling on hard times. I think they he was even doing like a little reality show a minute ago, like just about his, I guess, his steps to get back into effect and everything. But is that one of the reasons why the Far Side reached out to Dilla for the second album? Do you know, or?
See, I don't know, and I always question that, man. I was like, they went from, well, I think it's just because Jay Swift, man, he went to jail, man. He was in jail. Right. You know, and it was like they had this material. You know, I was talking to Ev today. Is like, you know, you do 30 songs and, you know, they get put 15 on one, and then when it came to do the second one, they ain't had a dude there no more, man. Right, yeah. I think he like smoked up the equipment and this was a bad, yeah, man. It just was real. Like when you read the story, you're like, wow. You know, for them, never getting on like that outside of the West Coast for cats that really was just heads. It's kind of tragic, man, because I really think they could have really, you know, really went somewhere, man.
Didn't one of them also have a drug problem too? The other cat, I forget his name, with the big lips.
Fat lip.
Yeah, that nigga said nigga with the big lips.
That's his name, son. Yeah, one of them even said something like he even went to the other side of things on some sexualities and shit.
Yeah, man.
I ain't hear these stories.
Yeah, I seen that. He was like, I didn't know about
production, man.
Forever.
I'm talking about the production.
Y'all can't.
Yo, I'm sorry, man. Everybody out there loving Cat. I mean, know that Cat, you're even clowning, man. It's just.
Yeah, I was living out there.
You hear them stories too often right there.
I seen that documentary. Cat was like, yeah, man, I got caught out there. He's like, you ruined me forever. You ruined me forever.
Yo, what doc are y'all talking about? He did a documentary on this?
He did like a documentary when he's put out his next
I just saw some. I don't even know where I saw. I don't even know I saw the whole documentary. I just saw it. I was like, oh shit.
Now, you talking about Fat Lip or Jay Swift?
Fat Lip. It was Fat Lip.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know if you actually got
it's like, I think it was.
Or he just
I think it was something with the whole group, man. They just was going through it, man.
Yeah, it was Fat Lip, Trey, and Kamani. That was the three MCs in it, man. I never got to what they talking about, but it was always one of them albums, you know, outside of She Keeps On Passing Me By, you rarely just hear people talking about it. And I think if you gave it a listen, production-wise, it's just an amazing album, man.
Right, really I'm gonna check that joint out. All right, I'm gonna check in with one of my people. One of my peoples is my man Bink. This dude got beats for freaking day. What's up, B?
You stole my man. That was gonna be my joint. That was one of my joints.
We can partner up on this joint thing.
I got some joints from Bink, boy.
Right, for me, Bink, you know, dude is just crazy. Like his drums are just freaking bonkers, man. Like Bink is just amazing. The funniest thing is, for years I thought Bink was from the West Coast, but come to find out, dude was from VA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which was kind of crazy to me, because but my top three joints that I love from Bink, Kanye's "Devil in a New Dress." You know that joint. I never forget when I first heard that. I was just like just blown away. Like that was my favorite beat for whatever year that was. Like if it was 2012. That was like my favorite beat for 2012. That's one of them joints I could just sit and listen to the
instrumental, word out, over on repeat, over, and I still do that shit.
Right, and it was just the ill Smokey Robinson sample we used, and I remember thinking No ID did it or Kanye did it. So when I heard Bink did it, I was like blown away. Another joint off of Pusha's last mixtape, Raffi Caney did this joint called I Am Forgiven. That was bonkers.
Is that the Donny Hathaway sample joint?
You know, I don't even know. I don't even know what he sampled for, but I know it's just freaking bonkers. And then probably one of my favorite joints, and this is gonna start a little controversy. Well, really ain't no controversy because the truth is the truth. Is the 1-900 Hustler joint he did for Jay, because basically for cats who don't know, Bink, Just Blaze's whole style is Bink. I mean, straight up and down. There ain't no way to get around it. Because, like I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, Beezo, I had never heard the whole Dynasty album. I heard bits and pieces. So when I finally heard it, by this time, Just Blaze was Just Blaze. Right. So when I heard that 1-900 Hustler, I was like, oh, Blaze killed that. Like, God, that dude went in. Then I'm reading the production credits, and I'm like, Bink. You know what I mean? And I got at my man Mills, and he was like, oh yeah, Bink, that whole style that Just do was Bink. Like and not to discredit Just on nothing, because again, this is just the truth. The truth is that was Bink's style. You know what I mean? So what you say about Bink, Beezo?
I mean, you hit it on the head with it's his drums, fam. That dude, he's like a Clive Stubblefield, what's my man, Bernard Purdy type of dude, but on the MP, on the drum machine with it, man. Dude he does things with his drums. I mean, it's like, see, I'm a type of cat, I like shit like minimalist type of shit, especially for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just a kick, the snare, the hat, you know what I'm saying? And you got some other percussion in there with a fat sample and a fat bass line. And Bink, he got this style. I can't even, I mean, that's the only way I could put it, that he's like an ill drummer that does hip hop with drum machines and shit. Because the way his timing on his drums, man, when he hits them toms, the tom-toms at the end of the bar or whatever, just everything about it is sick. And to add on to them songs, I mean, one of my favorite Jay-Z songs of all time is You, Me, Him, and Her. He did that joint. That shit is crazy to me. And it's a minimalist. It's just hard ass drums, the string sample, and then at the every like 8th bar, and then some more drums at the end of that shit. It's that minimalist shit that's like, to me, that epitomizes hip hop, because those style of beats, it lets the MC, a real MC, spit. It lets you just flow, and you find the pockets with your flow on a cat like Bing shit. But in terms of other songs too, a lot of cats don't realize he could do it also with the R&B, because he got the joint off of John Legend's last album with Rick Ross, Who Do We Think We Are?
Oh yeah.
He sampled Gene Knight or whatever, Mr. Big Stuff.
Right.
And it's like some real slow down tempo, but he still managed, that shit got like a swing to it, man. It's just, again, something with the dude's drums. And then, I don't know if cats even heard it, but check out Next Move off of Keisha Cole's Woman to Woman album. You want to talk about some Bink drums?
Yeah, Bink killed that joint. I know.
Oh my God, the drums on that joint from the very beginning, it's just bananas, yo. The nigga is crazy with his drums, man. And that's what I love, that he could do some straight up and down hip hop, some boom bap hip hop from the 90s, but on some up to date 2012, 13 shit. But then he could also do R&B production, and it had that same hard drums, same hard sound, but it's R&B. It's not like, it's that crossover hip hop. Nah, it's straight up R&B, but he just know how to throw that hop into it, man. I love that cat's beats, man. Word up.
And just to go through some of the cats he worked with, I mean, this dude, I just found this out today doing some digging at. He actually did one of my favorite Blackstreet joints, the Don't Leave Me joint, off Another Level album. Like, he co-produced that. I mean, this dude got Tamia, Beans, Jay-Z, Fat Joe, Diddy, Rick Ross, J. Cole, Jamie Foxx, Game, Faith, Nate Dogg, Eve, G-Rap, Freeway, State Property, Dave Hollister, Brooke Valentine, Royce, A. Marie, Skills, Dilla, and my man Joe Buttons. Yo.
He got to throw somebody, so here you go, bro.
Dude.
But you know what, Q? Yo, at the end of this, if you can, throw up a link to that Two Dope Boys. I think you sent me that joint like a month or two ago.
Oh, with him and Skills?
Yeah, with him and Skills. And I don't care if anybody does or loves or hates Skills or has it, indifferent, whatever. Don't even listen to it for that. Listen to the beats that Binks that you hearing while they talking. And even Skills is like, yo, the cat he just knows, man. He just knows how to get that hop with the drums. I mean, you gotta think about too, like VA, man, that area, the cats that came out of there with Genuine and Missy and Jodeci, the Neptunes, Bink, VA got some official, it's like, they got some real official pioneers or whatever you want to call them, seminal artists that came out of that one section of VA from the late 90s, the mid to early 90s with Jodeci, all the way through to now. And they still got cats doing it, especially on the production between Bink and the Neptunes, man. So shouts to VA, man. I got people out there, VA, they doing the damn thing with the music. I give them credit out there.
Yo, how you spell his name? Is it B-I-N-K?
Yeah, Bink with an exclamation point there. Bink.
So what you got on tap for us, Av?
On tap, what I got is this one was, I realized this one was a little difficult for me, man. I realized, coming up, how much of a lyric cat I was, and loving beats, but at the same point in time, not knowing who did what all the time. Outside of your favorites, like your Primos and your Pete Rock and stuff like that. But for me, one of the cats I gotta pull out is Q-Tip. I think Q-Tip is I just got, the more I learned about this cat, man, I have so much respect and admiration for him, because this cat not only, you know, just his production skill and talent, to me, outdoes his MC ability. I just think he's a beast when it comes to putting together beats, and he just has a good ear. Like he was a reason why he was really got put on. He was a reason why a lot of cats got put on, and it had something to do with the sound. You know what I mean? So that cat was, but one of the three of the joints that I pulled out was, and this was hard, just three of the joints, just random: Drink Away the Pain, One Love, and Temperatures Rising. So those joints I just pulled out real fast, but you know, I think that cat, when it comes to sampling and knowing how to take it and freak it and do some other stuff with it, I mean, to me, Lyrics to Go is just the perfect example of that. Yeah. But I think, you know, Tip is just a master composer, man.
I mean, yo, to add to that, if y'all recall, we were talking about, we mentioned it last time, man. You know, we were talking about Tip and how we was doing the whole thing about MCs and lyricists.
Yeah, right.
How Tip, like you said, lyrically, I would see him more as an MC than a lyricist, but he's like, I talked about KRS a while back, like, yo, this cat is hip hop, man. You know what I mean? Tip, right. I mean, you think about, like you were just saying, Truth Be Told, and I mean, you know, I've been checking for the cat and, you know, and they style and shit from way back when he was in Native Tongues and was a young cat, you know what I'm saying, was just coming up in they crew. And I remember, because I was, you know, I had people that was in Native Tongue or whatever like that, and they would tell me like, yo, this cat Q-Tip. And I'm like, Q-Tip? Like, dude, the thing I put in my ear, like, yeah, like, nah, he's nice. But they was talking about other shit. Like, they wasn't saying like with the rapping, they was just saying like, yo, he's just ill. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when I started hearing his shit, I didn't realize until a couple years ago when I went to see Beats, Rhymes, and Life that he was the one doing all them beats.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you automatically think that it's the DJ. It was Ali Shaheed doing all that shit.
Yo, I know.
Shaheed. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you kind of find out it was Tim the whole time. Yo, and that's the thing, like you just said, yo, I had crazy, off the charts respect for him as an artist before that. So when I found that out, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, that was a cherry on top.
You kind of knew when Shaheed.
I'm producers too.
I'm just gonna say you kind of had the thought when Shaheed put out that solo joint.
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute.
But you know what? At the end of the day, that's usually what separates when there's ever confusion. You know what I mean? Like when it just say produced by EPMD or produced by Gangstar or produced by the group. Usually when they go solo, because we started hearing the joints like you said that Tip was doing the Gangsta Bitch for Apache, which was, them drums were bonkers. You know what I mean? The joint, you know, One Love, the remix, that, and Q-Tip may quietly be the only dude who remixed the Pete Rock beat and made that shit in my eyes.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, the One Love remix.
No, not the One Love, the World Is Yours remix.
I got that joint.
Oh yeah. Wait, that was the Tip beat?
Yeah, that was Tip, man. Tip did that remix, man.
I always thought that was.
Me and Ev was battling before that. I told you.
I think so. Yeah, I always thought it was like Salam Remy or something.
Nah, Tip did that, man. And then Catch Forget that Tip did the remix to Get Down by Craig Mack.
Right.
And just blew that away. And I mean, we talking about Vic with his drums. I said it a while ago over on We'll Make Beats for Food. Quiet as kept. Tip got some of the hardest drums in hip hop. You know what I mean? And I think his name would have been brought up more if everything from the Tribe days said produced by Q-Tip.
Right.
You know what I mean? I definitely think his name would have been mentioned with them. He wouldn't be one of the slept-on producers if he did that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you would just...
You know, I'm going to cut you off, Kilwood. You know what's funny about that is, you know, in the Beats, Rhymes, and Life joint, and I was reading all types of, you know, different shit on websites where they were talking about how Tip was really put a lot of pressure on Michael Rappaport, you know, about releasing it because he didn't like the light that he was, you know, was being put on. He didn't like the way he's being portrayed. Like, he didn't want people to think that he was to blame for Tribe breaking up and this and that. But after watching the documentary, every cat that I know, no disrespect to your man Fife.
Why is it my man? I ain't from Queens.
One of y'all cats wanted to put him in the MC group mistakenly, but whatever.
Yeah, you're still wrong.
That's what I'm saying. But after seeing Beats, Rhymes, and Life, that's what made me think like, oh, this cat don't belong in that shit, man, with the ill MCs, because it made you see, like, that's what I'm saying, like, yo, Tip, he had the concept, he had the ideas, everything that they were about. You know what I'm saying? Looking back on it, yo, that came from Q-Tip's mind pretty much, man. So it's like, yo, I mean, he was the one booking the sessions. He was the one calling Fife, come on, get down here. When Fife was BSing, he called up his cousin Consequence, yo, come on. And then, now think about this, especially in this hip-hop game, where it's about, you know, your ego is a part of who you are as an artist and all that, especially as an MC. That this cat met Dilla, heard Dilla shit, as ill as Tip is, and said, hold up, I'm gonna let this cat do our beats. I'm gonna fall back and let this cat is so nice. I know I got shit for days. My list, my track record speak for itself. But this nigga is nice. I'm gonna step back and let him do his thing. Yeah, that's some humble shit, man.
Nah,
straight up.
Yeah.
So that, and again, just that right there is one more reason why I say it again. Tip is one of the most important figures in hip hop to me ever. Straight, I put him up there with the Melly Mel's, Grandmaster Flash, all that type of dudes, man. He's that big to me, yo. Word up.
That's what it is. So Vic, who you got next up on par?
I got, like, it made me think of so many cats, but I'm gonna go with my gangster shit, and I'm gonna put Easy LP out there.
Wow.
Bloody Money, Get Away, and I think he did Get Money, the Junior Mafia joint. I think he did that, man. But and a slew of other artists and joints that he has put out, man. So, you know, I have to throw Easy LP out there because I do like the gangster shit when I listen to hip hop sometimes.
Now, what's some of the joints he did? Because I remember his name wasn't
Bloody Money on the War Report, which is my joint, and they just now they have a video actually for that song now. He did Get Away by Mobb Deep.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy, right there.
Yeah, and I believe he did Get Money, man, for the Junior Mafia, the remix.
I know Clark. I thought Clark did the.
I was gonna throw Clark Kent in there. That was like my third joint, man.
Yeah, Clark had some shit back in the day. He's ill with the DJing too on the low.
I think not to skip ahead, but like I would throw Clark Kent in there just because I think he did Still Number One or KRS One. I think he did. I think
Clark did that joint.
Who?
I think Clark
did that. Nah. I think that was bad. I don't even think Bronx niggas was going to Brooklyn for beats back then. Like Still Number One, we going back to '88.
I mean, Clark was around back then.
I mean, I know he was around, but
I think Clark, but yeah, Easy LP, man. That's
LP. Yeah, dude was nice. Yo,
can I throw my next one out there because I know when y'all gonna pick him.
yeah, do your thing, man.
My man, Hot Tech, man.
He ain't on my list.
Really? Hot Tech?
I mean, I can see it, but I'm just saying, I could.
I figured he might be on a couple of people's lists, man. Cause Hot Tech, I mean, I'm gonna throw the 3 joints out before I get into why I love the cat. The Sun God featuring Common. He got this joint, Let It Go, featuring Talib and the cat Dion, and then The Blast with Talib and the chick Benia Mojica singing on that joint.
Yeah.
Yo, he again, like I said about Bink, you know, like I said, I love minimalist production where you just got a fast sample and you just chop it up, whatever. You throw some hard ass drums on that shit. That's where that whole boom bap style comes from and shit. And Hot Tech, he got a way of using minimalist beats with the style, but then like that joint, the Sun God, the sample, think. Yo, he got a way of throwing the sample in the pocket so lovely, man. It just, you can't help but nod your head all type of different directions listening to that nigga's beats, man. My only problem with him sometimes is like, it seemed like a lot of the shit he does is like off his own album or with Talib. And I mean, he's done other work obviously, and he's got a lot of cats that have worked on, you know, done drops or done songs on his albums, but I honestly don't know. I mean, I didn't get a chance to do crazy research into it, but I couldn't sit here and rattle off, you know, all the albums he's been on, not his own and shit. You know what I mean? Like other artists that he did beats for.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that take away from the fact that I think dude is crazy with the production, man.
Well, Tech is a beast, man. I remember when I first heard Black Star's album. You know what I mean? And just I still love how to this day how they put that together. How, you know, Most had his producer with Sean J. Period, and Talib had his man Hot Tech, and they kind of just combined both of them together. You know what I mean? But Tech, I mean, off that album, he had some joints, the Redefinition joint, the Definition, the joint on there with Calm. The first Reflection Eternal album is bananas. Move Something. The Blast. I loved how he filtered that Heatwave sample. You know what I mean? He just, and it was weird because I always loved the Blast. And then one day I just heard it when he kind of let the filter go for a second. I'm like, yo, this nigga flipped the Heatwave joint. You know, he's done a lot of stuff on Lockett's Game. He's done a lot of stuff. When he got on, because he signed with Aftermath.
Right.
And to me, that's kind of where I started falling back from tech, because it seemed like he started getting away from sampling. I don't know if it was messing with Dre or, you know, whatever it was, but he started falling back from sampling. And I feel like anytime any of the boom bap producers try to do that, it just never ends well for them.
It's not your style. You got to stick to the roots with that type of shit.
Yeah, so it's like, but Tech. I mean, I just threw up on Will Make Beats, just my Best of High Tech mixtape. Like,
that's right. Yeah, that's why I figured you might have him in your top.
I mean, he's got bangers for days, man. He's got bangers for days. So, Ev, who you got next, Vic?
I got E. Sermon, man.
Wow.
Eric Sermon. And I think, and I might have got this from, I think I was talking to Vic yesterday. And did you bring up E. Sermon yesterday when we was rapping? Yeah. So when he brought it up, I was like, damn, you know what? Yeah, I completely forgot about E. Sermon. So I might be still in Vic's person.
No.
You have a good joint? Okay. Yeah, E. Sermon, man, was one of my cats, and he was one. Actually, it's funny because I thought that some of the stuff that he did, DJ Scratch did it until I actually went, because I had DJ Scratch down there, and I went and I was looking up just to make sure and realized it was actually E-Dub, and I was like, oh wow. So my joints that I pulled out real fast was, of course, Gold Digger was one. Crossover to me was always a stupid beat. And off the El Nino album, it's a track on there called Checking Me Out. That shit is ridiculous.
That is crazy. The funny thing about that, Beezo, I was at Shaw Crib back in the day, and you had the sample for that. And as soon as you put the needle on there, I was like, oh, God. That Checking Me Out joint is just, that beat is freaking bonkers.
Yeah, he's a beast, man. He's a beast.
And you know what? It was funny. He's a perfect example of what we're saying about how you find out who's really doing the beats when cats go solo.
Yeah.
You see you hear the PMD album, it's like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
It sounds like somebody trying to make beats. You know what I'm saying?
Right. For the first time.
He's Sermon, and you saw hearing the Redmans and Keith Murray's and the shit that he's doing on the side, and you saw, okay. I mean, even like the joint with the Marvin Gaye sample. You know, music.
Oh, that's my shit too. Like,
I mean, when you listen to the beats, I mean, see, one thing I love with producers is I love when cats don't overthink it. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, he got the acapella of Marvin and was just like, I'm going to build a song around Marvin. And that's why he was featuring Marvin Gaye. It wasn't just like, it was Eric Sermon and had a sample of Marvin Gaye. He gave credit to Marvin because he basically used the acapella for a song.
Right.
And when you hear it, it's like the beat, the bass line, all that. It's mad simple. And he just realized, it's about Marvin. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to go crazy with this shit. Let me just make a nice beat that Marvin can do his thing and I can say what I want to say. I mean, that's a beautiful song. Son.
Yes.
It's about a love for music.
Yeah,
it's incredible. I love that job. I love that.
That's the thing with me and Eric Sermon, man. I think, when he did that Red Man What album, like that album right there to me is just like perfect. It's just like, time for some action.
Lover.
Watching Nuggets, Rated R.
Time for some action. That's my joint right there.
Just all them joints, just everything on that album. And I always sit back and whenever I listen to it, I'm just like, he killed this joint, man. He just...
let me ask y'all something. Do y'all notice it too with his production where everything sounds real thick?
I was gonna say that, man. His bass.
Yeah, it's got mad bottom.
His bass has
even the snare drum.
It's almost like you would expect the type of bass from some cat on the West Coast. He has so much heavy bass on his joint, and his drums, his kicks. Oh my God, his kicks.
I think that's why they was one of the first East Coast cats that got, because they was one. I remember they was in a couple of NWA videos or some shit like that. I seen them doing interviews with NWA back when Cube was still in NWA. They was always on EPMD was always on some gangster shit on the low.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? They did do talk some gangster shit from now and then. But Parish, it's like when that cat left, it was like, you know, he got his hands on DOS effects and all that, but you know, he took Redman, you know what I mean? He had Keith.
That hurt my heart.
Redman. But then when he found Keith Murray, you know,
just rounded things off and shit.
That was just the icing on the cake with that old.
That hurt too, man, because what they was doing, man, with that whole, you know, EPMD,
the whole hit squad,
Redman,
the whole hit squad.
The hit squad was going to be ridiculous. So when they broke, I was like, damn.
And they still going through it, from what I understand, man. Oh, really? DJ Scratch was going in on Parrish on Instagram like a couple of weeks ago. Talking about he made it sound like he snuffed him out or some shit, like, damn, over some paper.
Like, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. All right, well, next up for me, you was talking about earlier the state of Virginia. I'm going back to VA with my man Knots. This dude got beats for days, man. And the first time I got put on with Knots, I don't know if y'all ever heard it, it's off the Violator album. He got this joint with Flip Mode Squad called "What You Come Around Here For."
Yeah, I was going, okay.
Which is freaking bananas. I think he sampled like Oliver. This is around the time of Hard Knock Life when everybody was just sampling musicals. But yo, the way he used this in Knots is bass lines. That's the thing with Knots. He got these bass lines that's just out this freaking world, B. And it's so funny because that you brought it up, Beezo, just talking about Virginia. So many of these producers and their hard drums and their bass lines you would never think would be from other places other than New York. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, with Dilla and his bass lines, you could have never
told he was Primo with his beats.
Primo from Texas. I mean, some of these do, but yo, Knots, that "What You Come Around Here For" was crazy. He just got finished producing Rod Digger's whole album. Rod Digger dropped the album about a year or two ago called Classic. Crazy. Beats of bananas. You know, it's straight boom. The whole album is boom bap, and y'all already know about Rod Digger. You know, one of the illest female MCs ever. So, I mean, if when cats be like, yo, there ain't no female MCs out here, I just always point them in the direction of Rod Digger's Classic joint. It's crazy. And then my last joint that I really love, and what I love about Bink and Knots is that these dudes are still relevant to this day. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of cats are like, yo, I mean, not to hold nobody, I ain't really heard a Crazy Large Professor beat in a minute, you know. And that, again, no disrespect against that, but a lot of the old school producers and these
I know what you're saying. They're not at the same level.
Right. They stayed there, whereas these Binks and these Knots, they're still, like you said, Bink just did John Legend's single, not like the 5th song on the album. Yo, this is John Legend's first single, and John Legend is probably one of the biggest R&B dudes we got. You know, and I gotta salute him for that, for even putting a dude like Bink on and being like, yo, this is gonna be my first single. And with Knots, he just did the joint Nostalgia with Pusha T and Kendrick Lamar, which is just bonkers to me. You know what I mean?
Knots did that.
Yeah, Knots did that joint. You know what I mean? And a quick little discography of Knots. I mean, Knots did so much Busta stuff that's just crazy. After Busta kind of, maybe like after that first The Coming album, Knots always had like 5 or 6 joints on Busta. He's done Snoop, Bilal. He's done stuff with Rakim, G-Unit, M.O.P., Exhibit, Fat Joe. He did some joints for Third Eye. He's actually just dropped a solo album maybe about a year ago called You Need This Music. And one of the favorite joints that he did a joint called Dangerous MCs for Big. It was off that album after Big died. I think it was Born Again or something like that. But Dangerous MCs was like one of the few tracks that I could mess with on that album. I don't know how Bink did it, if it was Bink or the engineer, but he got Big vocals just perfectly in there. You know, like you may listen to Dead Wrong, that joint Eminem did, and you can kind of almost hear like it's a blend or something. But this Dangerous MCs joint, If It Right, is right there. You probably would have, if I didn't know that this was like a big After He Died album, I would have thought this was like something we just never heard or something like that. So definitely that nigga Knots, he got it.
You know what I think the cat probably did? I mean, I don't have no proof of this, but just going off of like seeing, like especially after seeing that clip with him and Skills in the studio, I wouldn't be shocked if it's like he took the vocals and made the beat off the vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like listen to Big, you know, listen to what he's saying, listen to how he's flowing, and made the beat and the music around that shit, and that's why the shit fits perfect. But I know what you're saying. Everything else you hear after Big passed, it sounded like somebody had the acapella and they had a beat and they kept trying beats over this acapella until they found the one that, you know, blended well enough.
Right.
That joint, it's like, okay, I think it sounds to me like you're saying, like he built it around big and shit, so it fits. Like I said, everything is in the pocket where it's supposed to be. It's ill.
Right. Right. So what you got up next for us, Vic?
I'll have to go with Dante Ross.
Woo.
I think he took it back.
I'm going back, and that's grimy too. Because if you listen to that first Brand Nubian album, you can see how fucked up it is, but just how long cats have come.
Mm-hmm.
Now Dante Ross, that was the dude that was Stimulated Dummies, right?
Stimulated Dummies.
Yeah.
That's right. And the story I read, Brooklyn Zoo didn't sound, which is one of the craziest cuts ever. That's in my top 10 cuts of all time.
Yeah, man.
It didn't even sound like that till Dante got the joint. That's the whole story. Yeah, it was. Matter of fact, he kind of hinted at it was like really kind of whack. And that beat that you hear is supposedly Dante Ross did that.
That's why I'm with you. That's in my top 10 greatest hip hop joints ever. That's
got
something like
that.
Annie and shit like that.
He did the real to real, a lot of shit with just Grand Poobah and Brand Nubians. You know, Pop Goes the Weasel with Third Base.
The Third Base.
Yeah. So I will go with Dante Ross, man. You know what I mean? Annie's a right, man.
That's dope. That's dope. Beezo, who you got up on tap?
My next one, I mean, I was gonna say Diamond D, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not. He is slept on, but I'll be honest, I wasn't able to do all the research into all the other shit. You know, I would just be going off of just his first solo album, man. I mean, that alone deserves credit.
So it's Fuji stuff too.
Yeah. But the cat that I had, man, is my man Psycho Les, man, from the Beatnuts, man.
That was gonna be my joint. You pulled my joint.
I mean, and again,
my next one.
I'm not gonna sit here and stand on those soapbox and pretend like I got his whole discography laid out in front of me. But I feel like I don't need to. I feel like I can take just this work with Beatnuts and go off of that, because every Beatnuts album, they first like 4 or 5 albums, whether it was the EP or the LPs, fam, there was at least 2 like, oh shit, as soon as you hear it, like, oh, this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and one of my favorites of all time by my nigga is Reign of the Tech, son. When he took the Sadat, John Wayne couldn't even stand the Reign of the Tech. That shit is bananas, man. And he's a cool cat. I had a chance to rock with him in the studio, play me some beats at the crib, and I'm like, he's just a laid back, cool cat. He's a wild dude, but he's a good dude. I'm
gonna add the word.
He got some fire, man.
Because with Red Alert, and we going back like 87, 88, they will always shout them out on the commercials. Red Alert would have these crazy commercials shouting out his whole squad, and you will always hear the Beatnuts. Yeah, he will always put them cats out there. So they've been in the game, man, probably a lot longer than what most cats think besides their albums.
Now tell me this, Beezo, because maybe you'll know this, because I guess this is the same situation with Tip and with Eric Sermon. I always thought Juju was doing more of the beats. Did they do them separately? Did they do them equally?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit in front like I know all the ins and outs. I could check into, because I know like Roots. He grew up with the cat. What's his name? Not less humble. You just mentioned
Juju.
Juju. Yeah, Roots grew up with the cat, so he know him like that. But I mean, I'm going off for like, what's that?
Yeah, VRC was banging with him too. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going off of what, like, literally just talking to this cat. You know what I mean? Like, he was the shit he played for me. I was just like, wow, okay. But it's funny because I'm gonna go left field with it, but not really left field. But like one of my favorite joints that they did, and from my understanding, he pretty much did the joint, was Let Off a Couple. And I don't even know which album it was on, but it's that
was off their first album. It was the EP, then it was the album. So the album was just the beat.
That's just like, it's real short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The song fades in, but it's like, what I love about it is it goes against the grain of everything else you heard from them cats. You know what I'm saying? And I say it then, maybe it's just the Beatnuts. I'll just give the Beatnuts the credit being slept on. Whether, never mind trying to figure out who did what and all that. But like, when you hear they beats, same thing, like they shit is hard with the hard drums, and they got that Latin shit, so sometimes they got a little swing to it, like the joint, you know what I mean? Got that hop, but you could cut a rub to it and shit on some hip hop. But I Let Off a Couple to me was just so gangster, because it was, the sample is mad laid back, but they talking some hood shit, and it just don't sound like nothing You Were Here from the Beat Nuts, man. And it's just, I love that track. It's one of my, them two, Rain in the Tech and that joint, it's probably my two favorite Beat Nut joints.
They got
say the Beat Nuts.
they got that joint. They got Vinny and Mohica on it, man, on that album. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like I said, that Beat Nuts album, man, that's one of the joints that made me want to be a producer. You know what I mean?
They've been around for a minute, though, man. They've been around for a long time. Because, like I said, '87, I was hearing about them on Red Alert shows on the weekends. He was always shouting them out. So,
yeah. All right, my number 3 joint is my man Ski. You know what I mean? From down North Cackalack. Yeah, Ski Beat from down North Carolina. The 3 joints. The thing I loved about Ski was because around the time when Ski was really popping, you know, after the whole I Got You Open, you know, original flavor joint, that's really when I got the ASR 10 and I was linking up with Beezo and Shy Roots and really trying to find myself as a producer. And I really liked Ski because, you know, he would just find dope loops. You know, Ski was really never known for just chopping and, you know, well, how did he do that? It was just always, he just always had a great ear for just samples. You know what I mean? And Lucchini, that's one of my joints because I remember when we first got that in that EAA and they sent that in the mail, and I mean we was all in there chilling. We was like, yo, let's listen to this new Camp Low joint. We hit the needle on that and we heard that beat and it was just all mouths at the floor. It was like Lucchini, you just, I mean, if you don't like Lucchini, you don't like hip hop. Be like that joint is just crazy. You know, another joint that I love that a lot of cats may not have heard is this joint from Pace One called I Declare War. Which
Pace One. Pace One down with
the Outsiders out of Jersey.
Outsiders. Yeah, I met that cat back. Me and Shaw did a joint with Lauren and what's his name?
Young Z. Yeah,
that's their whole little crew.
And then another one of my favorite Ski joints is John Blaze, the joint he did with Fat Joe, Nas, Raekwon, and Big Pun. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah, you know. Oh, you had to hear it, man, because it was.
I know the song. I didn't know he did it.
Oh yeah. Ski did that joint, and you know, of course, his discography, Jay-Z, you know, doing Reasonable Doubt, doing Streets is Watching, and that's got to be one of my favorite 2 joints, too, is Streets is Watching. That sample was just, you know, like you kind of said, Beezo, kind of like it just, about just being simple. It's just a dope sample, good drums, and it just equals a dope song. You know, Dead Presidents, the same thing. You know, Ski's stilo is very simple. It's just find a dope sample, match it with some dope drums, and there you go. You know, the joints he did for Camp Low, he's done AZ, Bahamadia, Lil' Kim, To Live, Sporty Thieves, and then another thing, like I said about Bink and Knots, Ski is still making beats, you know, and still making hot joints. I don't know if cats heard 24-Hour Karate School, bananas.
Yeah, most deaf.
Yeah. Now, if cats don't got it, I can send it to y'all. The joint that didn't come out because it was some hoopla with sample clearance, and most couldn't get clearance from his label, so he wasn't on a lot of the joints. But I mean, that 24-Hour Karate School is bananas.
Yeah, send it to me, fam. I need it.
Trust me. Name alone sound like I gotta hear that shit. 24 hours.
It's bananas. I mean, the stuff he was doing with Currency, the stuff he was doing with Stally, the stuff he was doing with Murs and To Live. I mean, this dude has been putting out albums. I think he's got 2 whole albums done with Currency. He's got a whole album done with Murs, whole album with Tabby Bonet. The dude is still putting in work to this day. You know what I mean? So, again, he's one of my slept-on dudes, but, yo, Money is still putting in work and still putting out bangers to this day. If y'all don't follow him on SoundCloud, please follow dude, because he's always throwing up beats that he got, and it's nothing better. It's Beezo. I don't even know if you knew this back in the day. I'd always be trying to get my hands on one of you and Shy's beat CDs or beat tapes, just on some old, just let me see what these dudes is cooking up. Yeah. That's kind of how it is with Ski. It's like this dude is giving you, like, he make a beat, he throwing it on SoundCloud. So just for that,
he's a good dude too. He's a cool cat. I met him a few times. He's a cool cat.
Yeah. So Ev, who you got next, man?
Well, I'm gonna say, you know, Beezo reminded me. I'm kind of salty. I ain't think about Diamond D, man. That I completely forgot about Diamond. But who I did have on my list was Beat Miners.
Yeah,
I had to bring them out, man, because I just was a big fan of the whole camp and them cats. You know, just again, you talk about, you know, production styles, just, you know, that whole filter shit and just the type of drums that they would pull and put underneath that stuff. It just, you know, they were really, you know, craftsmen at what they were doing. So, but the joints I pulled out is, you know, pretty much, you know, the famous joints, Buck 'Em Down, Fuck 'Em Down remix, Scotch Open remix, Soundboy Burial from Smith & Wesson. But they have a whole slew of joints, and it's hard to really pick and pull from a lot of them joints. But you know, the Beat Miners, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brothers too, ain't they?
Yeah.
Evil D.
I don't know if Cats ever heard this joint.
Yeah, that's the joint.
Race for Impact.
Yeah, that's the shit that I used to.
I'm not even gonna hold you and act like it's the craziest album, but they got a joint on here called "Take That" with Flip Mode. That beat is bonkers. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I got
can
a little sound clash.
What's the joint with Smith & Wesson on there again? What is it called?
Yeah, we got the little sound clash. He darted me with that joint.
That shit is
Extreme Situation.
yeah, that's another bang.
Yeah, not to mention that the Beat Miners got 2 classics under their belt. Not too many people can say that. Not too many slept on producers. You think about most of the cats that are in people's top 10, you know, have that. But they've got Black Moon and Smith & Wesson album under their belt. Not too many producers walking right now.
Those is like greatest, something like that's in your top 10.
Yeah,
at least top 10.
Not
the greatest hip hop albums ever.
Not too many cats can say they got 2 classic albums under their belt like that, you know, and a slew of remixes and everything else. So that's what it is. Yo, Vic, who's your number 4, man?
I'm gonna go with my dude, and I think these 2 albums is gonna end up being some shit that 30 years down the road, somebody gonna be looking for them. You gonna see it in some type of soundtrack or something. And I got to go with Havoc, with the Infamous, and Hell on Earth. Them 2 albums right there, man.
Yeah.
That just definitely changed the whole soundscape. Just, you know, with hip hop, man. You know, with them 2 albums right there, you listen to them now, and the dude turned me on. Ninth Wonder did an interview, and he was like, "That's my summertime, over 80 degrees at the 10 o'clock music." And that's when I started playing it, and that's when that shit just it's the best, man. You know
the way the Hell on Earth, the Infamous album starts, the very beginning of the album, with the sample, you know, it's just that loop, and it's like that whole shit is a microcosm of what that whole sound of that album was, man.
And look,
fit perfectly for this.
Somebody can ever figure out Animal Instinct for me, I give him a couple.
That's the joint with meth, right?
Animal Instinct is the joint live and direct, stab your neck.
Right.
It's off of Hell on Earth, right?
Yeah, that's Hell on Earth.
Yeah, that's Hell on Earth, man. Yeah, that's my shout. Yeah. Animal Instinct. Yeah. You know what's ill for me, yo? I only really know the title of like 2 songs off of that album because I would listen to that shit like it was one big ass song. Right. The Hell on Earth album. I mean, Godfather 3, whatever, that shit, and the Hell on Earth, because that was the title cut off the album, and it had its own unique sound. But that Animal Instinct, woo, wait, that shit comes in too, boy. The Have is ill, man. Have got some shit, man. Cats don't know, and it's like it's a shame what's happened with Mobb Deep and they whatever in between, you know, with them two, and you know, Alchemist is like the mistress of the group or some shit, man. It came in between them, the home wrecker or some shit. I don't know what the fuck, man. It's a shame because them cats, if they would have kept everything funky between the 3 of them and just, you know, allowed it to be, you know, what's the name? Al's going to do some of the joints and whatever. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of their problems, but yo, Have got some joints. And he even got some shit off his own solo albums. His last 2, I don't think his only 2 actually, but you check out his 2 solo albums, we got some hot shit on there too.
I think you're gonna see them 2 albums again, like on some Johnny Cash shit, man. They gonna come back.
Oh no, them 2 joints.
I mean, they classics too. That's just like you said about Beat Miners.
I think the thing with Have is that again he tried to stop sampling, you know, and that's what kind of opened up the door because you know once Alchemist kind of hit, when I would listen to Mobb Deep albums, even without listening, you know, reading the credits, the joints I really messed with were always the Alchemist joints. Okay. You know what I mean? So I don't know what happened with Have. Maybe he decided to get more on the MC tip, but that whole sampling, that whole stop sampling thing killed a lot of producers.
It's crazy too. Yo, if you go on YouTube and just pull up, like, do a search for Have on YouTube, there's clips of him in the studio. And there's this one joint I saw, it's like maybe 10, 15 minutes long. This is literally just him in, I don't know, it ain't no home studio. He's in like, you know, Sony studio or some shit, just playing beats. He's rhyming over a couple. He's saying one is for some artists he working with. And yo, the beats is, and I never heard them on any shit anywhere. Yo, but they are crazy. Bananas, some of the illest half beats I ever heard, but I never heard them nowhere other than these little clips I've seen and shit.
Yeah,
half is definitely in there though.
All right, my next up is my man. Wow, I'm just realizing this. None of these dudes from NY, man, and that's just bugging me. Like looking back at the list now, I gotta go with my man out of Chi-Town, No ID, man.
That was my other one.
Yeah, No ID.
I actually had that album, man.
Yeah, I mean, I always loved the stuff he did on Com's first two albums, but it probably wasn't until the third Com album, The One Day It'll All Make Sense, when it like really just started clicking for me. Like, yo, this dude got heat, man. Like from the door. The three joints for me, Stolen Moments 1, 2, and 3 off of Common's One Day It'll All Make Sense. The joint about him explaining how he got his crib robbed and how he going through trying to find the people who did it with 3 entirely different beats. I thought that was bananas. A recent joint he did, again, just like my other producers, he's still making heat. He just did this joint for Rick Ross called Tears of Joy with CeeLo, which is bonkers. And then one joint that a lot of people don't know he did, because when him and Com kind of parted ways, he went down to ATL and linked up with Jermaine Dupri and was doing a lot of beats under Jermaine Dupri. And he did this joint for Tony Braxton called Let Me Show You the Way that samples The Impressions, which is just bananas. I mean, again, could listen to the beat all day, every day. But, I mean, he's done so much. I mean, Jay, Def for Auto-Tune.
Yo, man, that's that shit. That was he did the Illusion joint, because to me, he made you feel like that whole album was gonna sound like that beat.
Yeah.
And it didn't, and that was
it's an ill sample too. I got that original joint, Jaco, what's his name and shit?
Jaco Pastorius.
Jaco Pastorius, yeah, that's the Jaco Pastorius.
That joint is crazy. The joint he did for Jay on American Gangster with Nas, the Success joint, that's crazy. I mean, him and Com linking back up for the Dream of the Believer album. He's done, of course, Kanye West. I mean, basically, he did half of Nas's Life is Good. He did Locomotive, he did Daughters, he did Accidental Murderers, you know, Beans, Jaheim, G-Unit, Ghostface, Meth, Drake, Twista, Fab, Janet, Jamie Foxx, Kid Cudi, Jasmine Sullivan, J. Cole, Pusha T. I mean, again, crazy, you know, a dude who slept on, but still making bangers, and making bangers for big people. Nas, Jay-Z, Drake. Like, he's still making dope music for people right now. So definitely shout out to No ID.
Is this all hip hop, or is it all hip hop?
No. I mean, I was just saying you slept on producers. I mean,
I just looking at Ev, man, and I thought of somebody, and I'm gonna let Ev build on it. So when my turn come back around, I'm gonna volley it to my man Ev.
All right. So B, who you got next?
I'm gonna take it back a little bit to the cat, Easy Mo B, man.
Yeah, that's my
Easy Mo B. And cats don't know. I mean, some of your favorite original are like Biggie joints.
Yeah.
Like the What? You know what I mean? With Meth. I mean that shit. And it's crazy. What I loved about that track, a lot of people don't know, the drums off of that shit is the ending of The Streets of New York by G-Rap. He looped that because I had used it myself. It's like at the very end of The Streets of New York, when all the samples go down and whatever, and everything goes away, you just see this drum loop, and there's a little bass line behind it. But it was like he took it in the same way I did. He took it from the snare, you know what I'm saying, and then the two kicks, and flipped that shit and used it. And when you take it like that, that's how you got that on the What, where like the bass line had that like almost reverse sound to it. But it wasn't on the one. It was hitting, you know, on the upbeat and shit. That's why it's like easy little shit like that about Easy Mo, and of course he got Flavor in Your Ear, man, by Craig Mack. I mean, that song, that's one of the illest joints back then, yo.
Yeah.
He was doing a lot of shit in that era for Cat, in that little time frame, real quick. I don't know. I mean, he's got other cats he's worked with, but just for me, like those joints. I mean, again, that's one of them things for me. It's like you got that shit on your resume, man. You good, man. You got entry into the. Come on in, man. You sit down at this table because. That shit alone is gonna get you entry into this shit with that.
The crazy thing with Mo B, my favorite Mo B joint is Warning. I mean, that Biggie joint, that snare and Warning, the drum programming, the way he freaked that Isaac Hayes sample, just Warning is just one of those perfect hip hop songs. It's like, you know, crazy beat, crazy rhymes, it just fits. So I definitely feel
Mo B, man, one of the few artists, man, you got royalty, man. I mean, he did the album with Miles Davis, man. So
right.
I was about to say, yeah.
Gotta like really
Oh, I didn't even know he did politics as usual. Okay.
Yeah, Mo B is that dude, man.
Yeah.
He was,
So who you got up? Who you got up next?
I'm gonna say he's Swift.
He's Swift.
Yeah, because Alcoholics, man, changed my life. That album changed my life. And the beats was just ridiculous. So if I'm just gonna use that one, I know he got probably a slew of other stuff, but I just always have to bring that album in. I mean, the lyrics was dope. Don't get me wrong. This style was dope, but the beats was just like, at that time period, it wasn't nothing I was really hearing like that.
Right.
And I gotta give it to E Swift because Last Call. You can't tell me shit. That whole, I hate to stay on one album, but I really got to shout out that cat just for that album because it just was beat wise. It just banged from top to bottom.
Yeah, the crazy.
I miss those types of groups in hip hop, man.
Yeah,
that's why I looked at them like, the Far Side. I looked at them like the Beatnuts. Where they didn't have to have platinum albums, but when they shit dropped, you was going to hit. You was going to check for it. It was going to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Enough people was going to be shouting it out or whatever, and you was going to be hearing it from time to time. And maybe not in the 6 o'clock drive home, whatever, but you're going to hear it in the rap shows, Friday and Saturday night. And them groups, man, they like, the way hip hop went, there's no place for groups like the Alcoholics and the Beatnuts like that no more. That's
them cats actually supposed to be doing an album together called Lick Nuts. Which I thought was gonna be bananas, but the first single I heard was trash.
Yeah, that joint with Raekwon was a banger.
I ain't even hear that joint. They had something about crocodile or alligator that was just, But now I feel E Swift. The thing I loved about Swift, I think my favorite E Swift track was Operation Lockdown for Helter Skelter.
Yo, I was looking. You know what? I was doing research and it said he did a track on the Storm album, and I went and I couldn't find which one it was. That was the one he did Operation Lockdown.
He did Operation Lockdown, and then
on Helter Skelter album.
On Helter Skelter on Nocturnal. The first single.
The first one.
He did that.
God.
Flat out.
He did something off the Storm too, but I don't know what he did.
Yeah. All right, Vic. So we up to number 5. Who you got for your last joint?
All right, man. This is how I'm gonna do it. My honorable mention, because I'm gonna pass it to Ev. Hopefully he can bring the lesson. I hope you bring the lesson, young bro. My honorable mention would be the Dungeon Family, and then I'm gonna
man. So you took my joint, Vic.
I'm gonna go with the cat, and it's a documentary on it, man. You gotta peep the documentary, man. The white dude, man, that did the Nevermind album, the Nirvana joint, and he gets into his whole production, and I think he verses off on hip hop influence and all this other shit. But what I'm gonna pass to Ev, since we don't have to just stay on rap music, is Lee Scratch Perry.
Lee Scratch Perry.
So I'm gonna let Ev break it down.
Nah, man, I might have to. I might have to pass that. Well,
and Beezo, I'm gonna tell you this: if you just said it like that, then it's like the question is like you listen to Bob Marley. So
Lee Scratch Perry is the reason why cats like Bob Marley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Lee Scratch Perry is. I say Lee Scratch Perry is probably one of the illest producers to come out of JA. This cat, man, you can find he first of all he's way left field, and that was one of the reasons where I brought that he was able to get shit out of Bob that no other producer could get. Cox and Dawson couldn't do it. Other cats over here couldn't really do it, but he went to go see Lee, and Lee was able to pour that shit out. But Lee's other bottom dirt shit. I seen this one joint. He's in the studio with a hat with a bird on it.
A real bird?
No, like a you know how Ghostface got the bird on it. This man had a hat with a bird on the shit. All these gold chains, all this stuff. You could tell he was way gone. And this motherfucker was just in there like this. And he's playing the shit. He's playing, he turning the knobs. And he's just like this, and he says this thing that I'll never forget. He goes, drum, bass, drum, and bass, and that's it. Yo, Lee Scratch Perry is a beast. He's crazy.
I'm gonna have to check him out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the knowledge on money then.
Lee Scratch Perry.
Lee Scratch Perry is a beast. Yo, man, he's probably one of the dirtiest. And talk about dirt sound. Lee Scratch Perry.
He's the original RZA.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the original RZA.
Yeah, he's the original. Yeah.
All right, Beezo, who you got for your last joint?
I mean, everybody cast them went through my 5 already and shit, but I'll throw an honorable mention in there, and I feel kind of bad because it's like he slept on, but really because not everybody's really even know he exists, man. It's my man, Third Eye, man, Jesse West, man.
Jesse West.
You know what I mean? And I'm going off of more personal experience. I think I mentioned this one of our original shows, man, that I had the privilege years ago, because he from the Bronx, and some of our people from the Vernon knew the cat, and one day they were just like, yo, we're gonna go check my man real quick, come with me. So I jumped in the car, we took a ride, and we went to Jesse West's crib, and this was right after Leaders had broke up, and Busta was starting to do his own thing, and he was like, yo, I got this track I just did with Busta. It's Jesse West and Busta. Yo, if somebody could get to Jesse and he has that track somewhere, my brother, please. I don't care if you gotta put it on YouTube or send it to me or whoever, but please, the world needs to hear the track. This I couldn't tell you the sample or this or that. All I remember is, y'all gotta realize this is probably like 90, when did they break up? Like 93, 94, something like that?
93, 94.
And that song and the feeling I had when I heard that still resonates with me today in 2013. I can still take myself back mentally to how I felt when I heard that music coming out the speakers, like, oh my God. And this is when I was doing beats already. So I'm like, yo, I felt like, wow, I got a long ways to go, son. This nigga shit was crazy. I mean, he played other joints, but that shit right there was just like, wow. And then fast forward some years later, I had put away the production. I was making life moves or whatever, got rid of all my equipment. I was still going out, record shopping, all this and that. And my mans, who was cool with Jess, he was like, yo, he called me up like, yo, B, you want to get back into production, go on YouTube and do this search for Third Eye. And Jess got a joint on there where he's talking about, he's showing you how he chops beats.
Yo, I saw that joint. That shit is bananas.
Yes, but he's your son. Please, I will send you the link here. You gotta put it on this joint where he's showing you, he uses recycle and reason, and he's showing you how he chops it up. He's like, yo, I use like 100 chops in reason and recycle, and then I open it up in reason, and then I go to Pro Tools or Logic or whatever and do it there. But he uses Love Tramp, the same shit from DOC used. Yo, trust me, I'm gonna tell you now, when you see this and you hear how he flipped Love Tramp, no, he absolutely destroys that joint. But it's like 90% of the audience probably don't know who this cat is unless they, know him from the Biggie joint, right, or a little shit here or there he did. But Jesse West is my man was telling me he did some shit where he wrote a music book that he actually sold to the New York school system. It's in like elementary schools in New York recently. Like I think he did this like last year, a couple years ago. And he's just an ill dude. He grew up in like, around the church, and so he got that influence in terms of knowing music. Like he knows how to read music, and he knows, chord progression, he can hear a note, boom, that's that note. He one of them type of dudes. So he's real creative. And I'm telling you too, when you watch this shit, you watch this clip, you gotta peep his antics, my dude. The nigga is wild, funny, he's mad animated, and he gonna pull you in between the beat and his personality. He's just an ill dude, man. I beg you all to please go check that shit out. I'll send you the link for that shit.
Man, I'm gonna check that joint out tonight. All right, my number 5, we coming in with Organized Confusion, B. Organized Noise. I always get too mixed up. But Organized Confusion got beats too, but I'm going with Organized Noise out of Atlanta. The thing I loved about Organized Noise is I felt like these are the only dudes who have been able, in my opinion, to take funk, soul, and hip-hop and mesh those 3 genres together so perfectly. Like, it's just, what they do is just beautiful. Probably my top favorite 3 joints is Jazzy Bell by Outkast. Probably tied with So Fresh and So Clean for Outkast. I don't know if cats remember this, the Cool Breeze joint, Watch for the Hook, with Outkast, Woody Mob, and Witch Doctor. That joint. And the joint I love because these chicks were dead in the water when this came out. In Vogue's Don't Let Go. The joint that was off the Set It Off soundtrack. And I mean, these chicks were dead in the water at the time. Ain't nobody cared about In Vogue. And they just gave them this flat out, beautiful R&B track, and that's what I loved about Organized Noise. No disrespect to any of the other producers we mentioned, they got R&B credits, but at the end of the day, a lot of those beats is something that MC could rhyme over. This Don't Let Go joint is straight R&B.
That's a beautiful song right there.
There's no MC coming in this on the hook. It's R&B. You know what I mean? It's straight R&B. I mean, they gave TLC their biggest hit with Waterfalls. I mean, that thing sold like 8 trillion billion records. You know, of course, Outkast, Goody Mob. They were one of the few people to record with Curtis Mayfield while he was still alive. Ludacris, the Mr. Joint. They just got beats for days, and I just loved it because I felt like the same way everybody was talking about J Swift with California. I felt like Organized was able to get, because you forget, there was no Dirty South before Organized. There was nobody coming out from the South before Organized was putting people on and stuff. You know, and I love the fact that when they would, I remember reading the source and seeing them in the basement in this clay dungeon, and they had the SP12 in there, and it was just like crazy. And then on top of all that, Sleepy Brown, who was part of Organized Noise, is just an incredible artist in himself. If cats have not heard it, go get Sleepy's Theme. It's an album called Sleepy's Theme. It was his first album. It was out independently back in '97 in Atlanta. Classic album. Buy it. You can go to Amazon, get it for like $2. It is worth it. You talk about great soul music. This is a 5-mic album that most human beings have never heard. Do yourself a favor, Amazon.com, and put in Sleepy's Theme. Buy it. Get the CD. Open it up. See him on the MPC. I just loved Organized Noise. So that's my number 5. Ev, take us on with your joint, babe.
All right, it's funny because my number 5 was actually Organized Noise, and when I went and did research, what I found out was who I was really looking for was actually Outkast. So Outkast is my number 5. Beat-wise, it was stuff that off of AT Aliens, Me and You. I was a fan of Bombs with Baghdad. Probably not the first time I listened to it, but when I went back to listen to it again, I was like, damn, actually that beat is stupid. And then one of my all-time favorite hip-hop tracks, Spotty Oddie Dopalicious. The production on that joint is...
And that little Genesis sample that they used that's about 3 seconds.
Yep.
In that, man, it's crazy.
That's just one of my all-time favorites. And it took me to a point I was like, yo, you know, I wasn't sure if it was Outkast or if it was Andre. But I'm gonna say Outkast, man, because you know, I know both of them cats was in the lab like that. I don't know who was doing what, who did more of what here, who doing more of what there, but it really don't matter. Outkast is my number 5.
And the thing I love about Outkast is they're one of the few people who MCs who picked up the production bug and ran with it and actually made good music with it. You know, I've heard a lot of MCs be like, kind of almost like, you know, what MC? Not too many MCs were able to get that, and I've always wondered that, like, yo, why didn't Google pick up on what Primo was doing, or why didn't CL pick up on what Pete was doing all them years? You know what I mean? Why did Nas pick up on what all these producers were doing? And I do understand as an MC, sometimes your focus is just the rhyme, but with Outkast, I mean, when I read the credits for AT Aliens, I was impressed just because I'm like, yo, these beats are on the level, and you don't find that too many times when somebody literally, you know, can come to you like, yo, let me see how to make beats.
Yo, who was that? Study that flip flop?
Flip-flop, sit back there crawling.
But, you know, it's not too many times that you could take a dude who's just learning how to make beats and then be making beats. Because when you listen to AT Aliens, it just sounds, it's no drop-off. Right, and it goes back from Organized Noise did this one, Outkast did this one, Organized Noise did this one, Outkast did this one, or whatever like that. It just fits. So at the end of the day, I see what you're saying definitely about them dudes, man. One of the few people who could do it. You know, I think Havoc was another, like you said, Vic. Havoc was one of the few people who kind of went from, I don't think he was making beats on that first Mobb Deep album, that Peer Pressure album.
Molly Moore, I think they done joints.
Yeah. So Havoc is one of those cats who kind of, you know, I know he got with Large Professor and Extra P showed him some stuff. And, you know, that's what I miss about the old hip-hop days. It seemed like so many people helped each other. Like, you know, it was like, yo, I'm going to go, like Large Pro said on Just Hanging Out. Like, yo, I'm up in Mount Vernon with CL Smooth and Pete Rock making beats that's sharper than cleats. Like, you know, it seemed like cats used to get together and dig and help each other out. So 5 slept on producers. Vic came in with Jay Swift, Easy LP, Dante Ross, Havoc, Lee Scratch Perry. Beezo came in with Bink, High Tech, The Beat Nuts, Easy Mo B, and Jesse West. Ev came through with Q-Tip, E Sermon, The Beat Miners, E Swift, and Outkast. Not chimed in with Bink, Not Ski, No ID, and Organized Noise. Salute brothers as always. YouTube.com, live from the bench. Keep it locked. I'm your man Kill with Beezo, Ev, and Vic. Keep it locked.
Peace.